All right, all right, all right. I think we're live. Let's see here. All right, guys. If you guys are here with me, this is the first time we use this system. So if you're live, drop a comment. Let's see if it pops up, please. I want to make sure everything's working correctly before I go into today's topic. All right. Cool. Okay, so I see someone's comment. Can you guys hear me good? Everything good? We'll get started in just a few minutes here. All right, all right, all right. Cool. Let's give you guys some time. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you can hear this music. All right, Nessie, I see you, man. Is it Nisi? I'm not sure. So listen, if you guys are commenting from Facebook, I can't see your name. I apologize. It doesn't show. Okay, cool. You can hear the music. Awesome, 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 awesome. What about Jesse's famous whistle? All right, so guys, today I'm going to be talking about short-term rentals, right? What are short-term rentals, the strategies of short-term rentals, how you can get started with each strategy. Okay, so bear with me. We're going to give everybody a chance to jump in. It looks like we got about 8 people here live, but this is going to go for about 20 minutes of content, and then I'll open it up to Q&A. If you guys have any questions, I'll stay on as long as you guys have questions. Otherwise, we'll close down, and hopefully for next time it gets a little bit better. It's the first time. So give me a thumbs up if the quality of video is good. Can you guys see the quality good? I was having internet issues about 20 minutes ago, so we had to reset. And before I get into it, I want to make sure everything else is still working. Thumbs up, everybody. Anybody? All right, all right. Looking good. Cool. Okay. All right, bear with me here, guys. We'll get the music going. And we'll get started shortly. Juan, what's up, brother? Norman, what's up, dude? All right, Frank, what's up, buddy? Cool. So I for some reason I can't see you guys' names up here on the stream, but I can see you guys on my phone. So hopefully I can give you guys some good content here, and then we'll get going. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's get going. All right, guys. So welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. Today is my first one again, as I told you guys before. So I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna hold my word to it every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. And every week will be a different topic. Today I'm going to talk about what's a short-term rental, the strategies of short-term rentals, and how you can get started with each strategy. Okay, so bear with me. Again, I'll give you guys about 15, 20 minutes of good info. Hopefully it's good. And then if you guys have questions, drop them on here and I'll try to answer them as we go. So episode 2 is dropping tonight, by the way, for the podcast on YouTube and as well as iTunes and Spotify. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. We talk about short-term rentals as well. This episode will be all about short-term rentals. And the reason we do it is because, as me and Jesse in our podcast talk about it, we talk about specifically our big break, right? What's our big break in life? His was short-term rentals. Mine is short-term rentals. Entrepreneurship is really my big break. I've been trying different businesses, doing different things throughout time. And short-term rentals was one of the biggest, most lucrative things that I've ever done. And It's given me the freedom to do what I want, where I want, when I want, with who I want, right? And I talk about that quite often. What's my why? What's my goal? And my why is to be able to have full control of my time, to be able to do what I want, with who I want, when I want, where I want. If I want to call you guys and go, hey, Frank, let's go to Europe for a day because, well, I can, because again, full control of my time. And short-term rentals have been able to do that for me. I've been able to do different things at different times. I mean, I just got back from a Steeler game this past weekend, which was awesome. It was a huge goal for me. I've been trying to go out there forever, and it finally happened. So what's a short-term rental? A short-term rental is, in real estate terms, a real estate strategy, right? It's a form of real estate investing where you can take a property, you're going to furnish it, you're going to make it look beautiful, and then you're going to rent it out on a short-term basis, a nightly stay, a weekly stay, a 2-week stay, a 3-day stay, whatever it is. That's a short-term rental, okay? It is not an Airbnb. Let's make that clear. And I only bring that up because Airbnb is just a marketing platform for short-term rentals, right? It's like calling it a VRBO or a Night and Rain, right? Night and Rain is my company. Night and Rain Properties is the name of my company. I have a website, nightandrain.com, and I don't go, hey, I'm staying at the Night and Rain, so why would I say I'm staying at the Airbnb? Although Airbnb has done an awesome job at marketing, I call them, Greg, where are you staying at? I'm staying at the Airbnb. But technically, the technical term is I'm staying at the short-term rental, right? The apartment, the house, the condo, the studio, whatever it is. And so hopefully that clears it up a little bit. There's different types of short-term rentals. There's car short-term rentals. There's apartment short-term rentals. I don't know what else there is out there. But, my forte here and my main focus is obviously short-term rentals through real estate. So the strategies of short-term rentals, okay? There's arbitrage. There's co-host, there's owning an actual asset and turning it into a short-term rental, or you can buy turnkey short-term rentals, right? I focus specifically on the arbitrage model. Now, what's the arbitrage model? The arbitrage short-term rental model is where you go and you lease out a property from someone else, another owner or another property manager or whoever it is, and you rent it out long-term as a regular tenant under your LLC, right? You want to be as professional as possible. And you rent it out long-term, and then you furnish it. You either design it yourself or get a designer or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you rent it out on other platforms like Airbnb, like VRBO, like Booking.com, like Furnished Finder, or your own direct website. And people come in and they rent the place out short-term, and you make a spread. So if I'm paying rent at $3,000 a month, I want to aim for $6,000 a month because I'm charging a difference on the nightly revenue because I'm offering a better service. That's what the arbitrage model is, okay? The co-host model is where you can go talk to an owner. There's owners out there that own properties that are looking for somebody to help them generate more revenue out of their properties. And so what you do is you come in as a co-host. You go, hey, listen, I'm a short-term rental operator. You have this property. I can manage it for you as a short-term rental, and we do a revenue split. My fee can be anywhere from, 15 to 30%. I charge 30% because of my services are a little bit different than others, but there's co-host companies out there who charge less. Now, a co-host company, it's not a co-host company, excuse me. If you come in as a co-host, you can charge anywhere between the average is about 20, 25. I know people who do again as high as 30. And what happens is that's all you're doing is you're co-hosting. You're just managing the property. The owner is responsible for providing the property, getting the property furnished, providing the money to get everything going. All you do is you come in and you manage it as a short-term rental. You make sure that the location number one gets booked. You make sure that people are coming and going, that the systems are in place, that the unit gets cleaned. And then at the end of the month, whatever revenue you bring in, let's say for simple terms here, you make $10,000 out of a 3-bedroom house. Well, there's going to be a revenue split of those $10,000. And if you're doing 30% of your fee, then you're going to keep $3,000 and the owner's going to keep $7,000. Out of that money, the owner is responsible to cover their mortgage. They're responsible for all expenses, utilities, water, gas, trash, sewage, and the internet as well, right? Anything that goes associated with an expense of the company. You're responsible for anything that requires you to manage that property, whether it's I don't know, hospitable, right? Because it's part of your system, whether it's price labs, because you use price labs to price. Whatever it is that you use to make this short-term rental operate, you're responsible, and that comes out of your fee. Aside from that, obviously it's your pay, your 30%, right? So with that being said, the final strategy is ownership, right? Where you already own the property or you own the asset and you just go and get it furnished and you manage it yourself. Now you're just operating in a single owned house, multifamily, whatever the case may be, and you own it yourself and you're furnishing it yourself. And you put it out on a website like Airbnb, VRBO, or whatever the case may be. That's one of the ultimately that's the goal, right? I start off in arbitrage because I want to own and turn my own properties into a short-term rental. That's one of the best strategies if you already own the property, because if you own the property, then all you do is get it furnished. You get a designer out there, you get the place furnished, and then you put it up on a website and you learn as you go, basically, right? You manage the guests yourself, you manage with the communication yourself. You do everything yourself without having anybody involved, and you get the full benefits of keeping 100% of the revenue. And then finally, you can buy properties turnkey as a short-term rental, as they call them, Airbnb turnkey properties, right? When you buy a property turnkey, you're buying the property 100% furnished, ready to operate, with everything inside it. All you do is basically you're going to end up paying a premium. So a house that costs 450 grand, you're probably going to end up paying about 550 or 500,000, 550 something, because whoever's selling it as a furnished Airbnb knows the potential of the revenue that you can make. For example, there's also people who sell turnkey arbitrage apartments and homes. And what that means, and this is the fourth strategy, by the way, the arbitrage turnkey model. What that means is that, for example, the operator, I would go out there and I would sign a lease on a 20-unit building. I would get them furnished, operating with already guests coming and going. And then I would go and I sell it to somebody else and go, hey, I have this building or this one unit in this building that I can sell it to you, and I sell it for a higher spread, right? Something like $20,000. And I'll tell you, hey, it's going to cost you 20 grand because I know that this unit's going to generate this much money over the next couple of years. Same thing. So those are the strategies. Somebody said development of skills. I don't know what that means. Sorry, or where we're at on that. And then obviously, so outside of those four things, I want to talk about how you can get started with each strategy, right? I'll start from the bottom, which is the turnkey style of Airbnb property, the one that you buy, the house that you buy, or the arbitrage lease. The difference between buying the property turnkey is that you're buying the actual asset as an operating short-term rental, which means it comes with an account already. It probably comes with reservations already, fully furnished, right? A pro listing, and hopefully it's a pro listing if you're paying top money for it, not just, hey, here's the house furnished. At that point, you're just buying a furnished rental. It doesn't make sense. And the difference between that and an arbitrage turnkey is that the arbitrage turnkey that they're selling you is just the arbitrage deal. It's the lease. They're selling you the lease. You're not buying the actual asset. So you're buying the rights to be able to operate an arbitrage deal with an owner. So if I were to buy 5 arbitrage deals from a turnkey seller, that means I'm buying 5 leases from the turnkey operator, and now I have full rights to be there within the time of that lease. And the owner better damn know and better be aware that now I'm the one operating because I bought it off this other person. Usually those guys make it pretty clear. They let the owners know that they're selling them, they're setting them up, and they will also help you along the way if you're new and you're getting started. They're just more expensive. A one-bedroom apartment that you can start yourself probably for about $8,000 to $10,000, you're going to end up purchasing it for maybe $20,000, $25,000, maybe even more, because well, they're selling you an operating business. It's if I were to sell you one of my one bedrooms, I'm not going to sell it to you for $10,000, $15,000. I'm going to sell it to you for $20,000, $25,000 because I know that one bedroom apartment is going to generate you almost $20,000, $30,000 in revenue over the next 12 months, right? Maybe even more, maybe even less, but over time, you're going to get that money back and then some, and you had to do nothing other than pay me cash up front. I did the setup. I did the account. I already got you reservations, all of that. So hopefully that makes sense with those. Now, the ownership model, obviously the easiest way and how to get started with that strategy is by going out, purchasing a property, getting it furnished, and putting it up on a website. Now, here's the thing with this one. It's going to be one of your most expensive ways to get started. Okay, why is that? Number one, well, you're gonna have to go out there and buy the property, or even if you're developing the property, right? I know some of you guys who are developing properties for short-term rentals, which kudos, right? But if you're going out there to purchase a property, you're now looking at the down payment, and in some cases, it could be anywhere from 3.5 up to 20, 25, 30%, right? And depending on what you have to put down on the property, let's just say, for example's terms, a good short-term rental operating house is going to cost you somewhere about, here in California, 600 grand, right? If you're going to put 20% down, you're looking at $120,000 down, right? On top of that, you have to pay for the furnishing. On a 3-4 bedroom house, you're probably looking at anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000 on top of that. Now, if you have the money, if you're in the position to do this, hey, by all means, go out and do that, because the ultimate goal here is to purchase property, right? Purchase property. Keep that in mind, guys. We want to be 65, chilling, right? Generating monthly cash flow because these properties are paid off. Now, if you are in a position where you have an awesome job, where you're happy with your work, you're not looking for any side cash, this is a future investment where you want it to be passive, then yes, go out and purchase the property, right? You have the $120,000 for that 20% down payment sitting there for sure. And you also have the money to furnish it. Go out and do that, right? Because a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom in the right market should generate you a solid anywhere minimum from $3,000 to $7,000 in profit. I know some properties that are generating almost $12,000 to $16,000 in profit, guys. Keep that in mind, profit, not revenue, profit each month, right? On top of their mortgage after all expenses get paid. It's just the most expensive way, right? And then there's arbitrage, my model. The best model, I think, in my opinion, before we go into co-hosting, and I think is definitely arbitrage. It's, in my opinion, the easiest way to get started, the most inexpensive. Well, technically not the most inexpensive, but the easiest for you to, number one, learn the business, start with a very minimal investment. The risk versus reward is a lot higher. And it could get you where you want to go to in a couple of years if you make the right moves, right? I can take a 1-bedroom apartment, go sign a lease, pay about $10,000, maybe even less. I've done it in as little as $4,000 to furnish a property, right? All I'm liable is for the 3 major expenses. Number 1, your rent. Number 2, your down payment. Number 3, the furnishing and setup cost. Those are the expenses involved in starting a short-term rental. Now, in comparison to a $120,000 20% down payment plus a $15,000 furnishing cost, you're looking at $135,000 to operate a 3-bedroom apartment. I mean, 3-bedroom house, right? Well, I can go get a 3-bedroom house rented for, in my market, about $3,400. Okay, we're already looking at $3,400. I'm gonna put in about $15,000 to furnish it, right? And the down payment as well, guys. I mean, I'm sorry, not the down payment, but the deposit. Now we're looking at about $18,000 to get started. Now, which one would you prefer? If all you have in the bank is maybe 5-6 grand, and you're in that part of your life right now where you're like, hey, I want to make some side money. I want to start investing. I want to start a business. I want to set myself up for the future. Would you much rather wait 20, 30 years to save? I don't know, 5, 10 years, whatever it is. Sorry. Whatever the case, however long it takes you to save that money to be able to purchase something, or would you rather take that money now, invest it, and start operating and start generating revenue now, right? Well, I would much rather take my $20,000, go open a 3-bedroom house, $18,000, excuse me, and start generating a solid $3,000-4,000 a month profit, right? And wait about 7-8 months, get that money, open another one, right? Maybe talk to some neighbors, cousins, uncles, sisters, aunts, and ask if they have some money they can loan you, and open another unit with them. Pay them a little percentage, right? A little bit of something is a lot better than a whole lot of nothing. You can open 2 units. Take a credit card. You can take a $15,000, $20,000 credit card and go open a unit. And you start generating anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, depending on the size of the apartment, right? On a 1-bedroom apartment, I want to generate $1,500. On a 2-bedroom apartment, anywhere between $2,400 to $2,500. On a 3-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom apartment, I want to generate at least $3,000 a month. I know that in my market, there's seasonalities. There's seasons where certain months do better than others, but on average through the year, right, taking from January to December, I want to make $1,500 average for a 1-bedroom, right? 22 to 25 for a 2-bedroom, 3 and upwards for a 3-bedroom. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, The last part is the co-hosting model. Now, with the co-hosting model, you can essentially start operating with zero money down. Okay, this is probably the best one if you're starting with no cash, because the hardest part is actually getting somebody or a landlord to allow you to do what you want to do, especially if you have no experience, right? And if you have no experience, to convince somebody to allow you to operate in their building as a short-term rental is going to be a whole lot more difficult than if you actually had the experience. So if you go to a landlord and you go, hey, you know, Mr. Landlord, I see that you have this house for rent for $3,000. I can come in and host it for you as a short-term rental. I've been doing this for a long time. Or if you haven't, doesn't matter, whatever. And we can turn it into a short-term rental. I can show you how to do it. I manage it, and then we do a revenue split, right? You have to provide the furnishing, and then I come in and I offer the management services, okay? And I charge 30% for my services, or 20%, or 25%, whatever you guys negotiate, right? Whatever works for both people is a good negotiation. And you tell them, hey, so I can start this up. It's going to cost you, and then you got to do the work, right? Obviously, you got to tell them how much it's going to cost to furnish the house. You got to get the photographer out there. You got to get set up and create the listing, and tell them, hey, it's going to cost you about $15,000 to get this house furnished. We can be live by this day, and we should be able to generate this much revenue. And out of this much, we're going to split 70-30. You get 70%, I get 30%, and explain to them the breakdown of how you're going to do it, right? And if they say yes and they're all for it and they give you a chance, you're in. You're starting a short-term rental business with zero money down as a co-host. I know a lot of people who started this way, then moved on to Arbitrage, or just decided to keep doing this, right? There's guys out there that I'm really good friends with right now that are managing upwards of 150 units just on the co-host model. Some of them do it differently. Obviously, there's different guys. You know, everybody does it differently. But there's if you spread your portfolio in different types of short-term rental strategies, it could be very lucrative, right? Start with maybe 5-10 arbitrage deals, save some money, buy one. Right now, you have 10 arbitrage generating you a ton of cash flow, and then you have one that you actually own that you're paying off the debt on. So in the future, you have an asset that you own that's operating, that's making you a ton of cash. And then you do some co-hosting, right? You're just helping other investors make more money, and you're making money yourself by doing this co-hosting short-term rental. So hopefully this was good. Give me some comments here, guys. If this was good, is there anything that I didn't make sense, that did make sense, that you guys liked, that you didn't like? And then we can go from there. I do see some comments here, Brian. I see you, man. What's up? And then we'll go from there. And again, I'll stay open. I know, I think we have like 10 people watching right now. So whoever's watching with me, if you have questions, anything regarding short-term rentals or regarding what I just talked about, let me know. And we'll go from there. Let's see here. Well, it's safe for playback. Yeah. So I'm actually going to post this up, guys. This will be posted on YouTube as well. So you guys can watch it later for those that couldn't make it. I know 3 p.m. is a little bit early for a lot of people. Some people are still working, but it's the time that works for me to go on live. Let's see here. How much do own a lease? Whoops, I got a phone call here. How much does own a lease? How much does owe in leases a month? I don't understand. Oh, how much do owe? I don't understand that question. If you can ask it again, that'd be great. I've noticed a lot of condo luxury apartments places don't allow sublease. Okay. Yes, Brian. So great point, man. Here's the deal. Number one, condos usually are in HOAs. HOAs have a lot of rules and regulations where you can't talk, or you can't go in and operate as a short-term rental because they don't want people coming and going in their community, right? A HOA is part of the community. The luxury apartments will allow you if you do it correctly. I'm in some luxury apartments that at first were hesitant, but now I'm allowed to do it. Here's the difference. When there's a big, and I now actually like to work with smaller owner operators who own the properties, as opposed to these big giant luxury apartments that have a lot of rules and regulations. And I'll tell you why. Oh, here we go, Brian. Look, there's your question. Cool. So here's the thing. With these big giant luxury apartment complexes, they're usually called REITs. They already have regulations on how you're going to be able to operate in that building. They're going to have a lot of requirements: 2 years bank statements, 2 years business history. They're going to want business credit. They're going to want to show that you've been doing this for a long time and that you're generating revenue already. or they might require you to be the guarantor on the lease, whatever the case may be, for you to run your credit to be able to get started. And so if you could, and here's the thing, they're going to want you to do a corporate lease, which is why I always tell people, do this professionally, go out and open an entity and do it legitimately, right? And talk to your CPA about this stuff. They should be able to help you. It's very easy to open an entity nowadays in whatever state you're in. And so the difference between the luxury apartments is that they don't allow it, because right now there's a lot of people out there who are trying to do arbitrage, or who are trying to make some money on Airbnb, and they go in and they do it without being a legit company, or they do this as a side gig, or they think, hey, I'm just going to rent an apartment and put it up on Airbnb and make a bunch of money. And so right now it's kind of like blowing up all over the place, and a lot of people are doing this. And because of that, a lot of these places don't allow it. It doesn't mean you can't get in. It just means that there's different requirements to operate in that building. For example, and also another example here, Bryant, is that in some of those luxury apartments complexes, they might require you to do a background check of every single person who's been in the building. Well, if they require that from me, odds are I'll probably be like, no, hey, listen, we do things differently. We vet guests a different way. Or I might say, hey, yeah, there's things out there like AutoHost who you can actually use to do background checks of every person. If it's part of your business model and you're okay doing it that way, then by all means, go out and do it that way, right? It's just going to be more expensive every time you get a booking, where it costs like $20-$30 to do a background check of every single person. And are your guests going to be cool with you doing that, right? And that's the difference between these luxury apartment places. And then going back to the sublease part, it's not that they don't allow subletting, subletting. It's that they don't understand what you're doing. And when you get started, you have to be able to explain. Your job as an operator is to be able to go in and explain to these people how it is that we're going to operate. Well, listen, we're a short-term rental corporate housing provider. Okay. We provide corporate houses as a short-term rental accommodation, or as a short-term rental stay for business travelers, families here for leisure, right? And talk about the customers that you're doing. And we bring people in short-term. We, the company, are renting out your place long-term as a corporate housing provider. And then we're going to provide it to other people who need a place to stay short-term. And if they don't allow it, it's no big deal. Go on to the next one, right? The reason we say we need to get permission to do subletting is because you want to be protected. That's mainly the main reason why. Essentially, we are subletting, but kind of we're not, because nobody else is signing a lease underneath us, right? But because we're bringing in people short term, most people see it as, yeah, we are subletting, right? And it's a big time argument. People argue about it all the time. I don't see it that way, but I still make sure I get a subletting clause to make sure I'm protected in case the complex goes, hey, man, we don't want you doing this anymore. Okay, no hard feelings, but I do have till the end of the lease because I have this in writing that I'm allowed to be here, right? So, Brian, hopefully that helps, man. I'm going to move on to the next ones here. Let's see. Oh, you got another one, Brian? Cool, let's see. How do you overcome objection from the condo apartment companies not allowing subleasing? So hopefully what I just said helps. But basically talk about the customer, number one. Let them know who you're housing, what it is that you're actually doing. You don't tell them you're running an Airbnb business, going back to what short-term rentals are, right? Airbnb is just a marketing platform. Short-term rentals are what we're providing. It's kind of like corporate housing. But make sure you know what the definition of corporate housing means. We're not doing people 30-day minimums. We're not bringing our own employees in. We're setting up these apartments for short-term rentals for very specific targeted customers, the customers we're trying to attract, and the customers we're trying to serve, and the customers we're trying to bring in. And talk about everything else that you do, right? One of the objections is, well, we don't want people coming and going because our place is going to get trashed. Well, technically, actually, we take better care of the location than anybody else does, because when people come in short term, that means that they leave short term, right? They come in for 4 or 5 days. We have to come in. We got to get the place 100% turned, which means professionally cleaned, which means that you're not going to have that nasty gunk in the shower, which means the tubs are going to get scrubbed, which means that if there's scuffs on the wall, we're going to paint them. Why? Because the next customer that comes in, the place has to look immaculate. It has to look just like the photo, like day number one. So whether it's today or whether it's in 3 years from now, the place still has to look the same as the photos. And how do we get it there? By maintenance, by upkeeping the property, right? By taking care of the location and making sure that everything's up to par. Otherwise, no one's going to want to stay in a dumpy spot where we're trying to sell a beautiful place and they show up and it's all beat up, right? So, Brian, there's a lot more to that, but if you give me a more specific question, we'll go back to it. All right, guys, let's see. Arbitrage model. What's your sales process to get a yes, single family or corporate lease? So Corey, I love that you said, what's your sales process? Because everything in this world is a sales pitch, right? But I don't sell anything, man. Here's the thing. I come in and I have a normal conversation with every single person that I talk to. And I just explain to them, hey, listen, I'm a short-term rental company. I'm a corporate housing provider, short-term rental company. We provide short-term stays for people who are here for business, leisure, right? I do have kind of like a script that I say off the top of my head, but once I do that initial conversation, I wait to see what those people are going to ask me, right? It's something like, hey, my name's Rafa. I'm a short-term rental housing provider. We set up corporate houses. We're looking to expand in your area. Do you guys allow corporate housing there? Right? Something like that. And then depends on what they respond. Sometimes I say, hey, my name's Rafa. I'm with 99 Properties. We're a short-term rental corporate housing provider. We house business travel nurses. And there's a demand in your area, so we're looking to expand. Do you guys allow corporate housing there? Right? Something like that. Or corporate leases, not corporate housing. I'm sorry. And I wait for their answer or what their rebuttal questions are. Once I get those questions, then I go very targeted into how I'm going to answer them. I'm either going to talk about the customers. I'm going to talk about how I'm going to house them, how well we furnish the place, what the benefits of me being there are, things like that. So again, another similar question. Let's see. Who pays for cleaning fees through co-hosting? So that's a great question. I'm not sure who asked this, but you know what? There's different ways to do it. I'm going to be honest. I really can't answer that because I don't 100% know. Because I don't really focus on co-hosting. I don't like to do it, but I do know that there's two different ways to do it. The cleaning fee gets paid by the guest. So this is how I would do it, actually. So I actually just talked to a gentleman who wants me to co-host a property, and this is exactly how I'm setting it up. Whatever money that the guest pays for cleaning, and whatever the cleaning fees are at the end of the month, that separate amount of money from all those guests pays for the cleanings. Everything after that is where we split the 70-30. That just seems the fairest way because it's pass-through expense. But here's a different way to do it. And I know another guy that does it this way. They add it to the revenue. Okay, they add it to the revenue, and then they negotiate whatever the cleaning cost is with their cleaners, and it comes out of their 30%. But they charge a 30% because they know that they're going to make more money that way. Some co-hosts only charge 25, and then the cleaning fee has to be liable by the owner, right? There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Again, I don't know. Sorry, I can be more help with that. But I'll find out for you. I know a lot of people who do it. Let's see. How do you navigate Southern California restrictions on STR? Mark, great question, man. So I don't navigate. I just work with them. However, people ask me to do this, anytime somebody asks me this, it's simple. I just read the ordinance and I make sure I'm able to operate. Look, don't be scared away by regulations, okay? Unless they're 100% banned, there's a way to work and operate there. There's a way to make sure that you're able to operate within the legalities or within the ordinance, right? And some ordinances might say, hey, you can't do more than, 4 or 5 properties as an owner, or you can't do short-term rentals in a specific zone, or you can't do them in this specific neighborhood, or it's got to be a specific type of property. Whatever the ordinance is, or whatever that restriction is, here's what I always tell people. Pull the ordinance for that city, okay? You're going to pull it, you're going to read it. You're going to read through it properly, okay? Make sure you truly understand that ordinance, okay? And if you don't understand it, give it to someone else who can read it, truly understand it, someone like maybe an attorney or someone who understands legal terms or all that jibber jabbish, right? And if they really understand it and they tell you, hey, look, you can operate here, you just can't do it this way, then there's an opening, right? The way I tell people is look at an ordinance as how can I actually operate here, not as in, man, I can't operate here because there's an ordinance or there's restrictions. There's always a way around something, right? Some of them are just, hey, you can't do 30-day or less. That just kind of kills the short-term rental, but there's space for mid-term rentals, right? You guys know Jesse, right? Right here with the big break. My buddy Jesse, he focuses strictly on travel nurse contracts, mid-term stays. Some of his students, he's teaching a class right now as we speak, actually, and some of his students are locking in 60, 70-day contracts with nurses, right? He locks them in all the time. I know we were just talking about this, and you guys will hear it in the podcast that comes out tonight at midnight, by the way. He got a $16,000 reservation for like 3 months or something, right? And they paid up front. Who cares if they don't allow you to do short-term rentals in the city if you can get those type of contracts, right? There's always a type of customer in your market for what you're trying to do. And if the city says, hey, you can't do 30 days or less, fine. I have a great property here that I know I can do 30 days or more. And now I start renting it out on a monthly basis. And I go out and I look for nurses. I go out and I look for businesses who have people coming here for 5-6 months, right? I look for students, whatever the case may be. So hopefully that helps. Mark, hopefully that helps, man. Mark, another question. Cool, man. What's your pricing strategy, and do you use softwares like Price Labs? Yes. So I do use Price Labs. I love Price Labs. Price Labs is my thing. I've been using it forever. I've used Wheelhouse in the past. I just like Price Labs. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? That's the term. I love using it. It's what I've always used, and I think it works great. But I use it as a guiding tool. It certainly does not. It's not a set it and forget it thing, right? Anything that has to do with your revenue and your pricing, you always want to be able to work with and use and kind of use it as a guideline. Bear with me, guys. Drink some water here. By the way, this is my souvenir cup from the Pittsburgh Steelers game. I'm super excited about that. And that's guava juice. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But Price Labs is awesome. I use Price Labs. So here's how I use it, okay? I use it as my base rate, and then I set all my rules and regulations within Price Labs. I have holiday pricing strategies. I have last minute pricing strategies. I have weekend pricing strategies. I have midterm rental pricing strategies. I have long-term rental pricing strategies. I have future booking strategies. I have last minute booking strategies. But I use them all between Price Labs. And the way Price Labs works is it pulls out all the data in the area, and it tells you what it thinks your unit will do. Now, here's why I say I don't use it as the one-stop shop, greatest thing ever. I use it as a guide because some of my one-bedroom apartments in my area, when I go live, it'll tell me that they're going for $135, and I know that I'm actually doing about $170 a night, right? It tells me, hey, you're going to do $135 a night, and I actually know I'm doing $175 next door. Then I'm not going to set my base price at $135, right? Also, sometimes it happens where it overprices. I set up a one bedroom and it says, hey, you're going to do $220 because it pulls data from the area. And usually my area pulls my data, so I know what it's pulling because I have so many units in the same locations. And so it'll tell me, hey, you're going to do something like $200 a night because I know that I'm doing $200 a night, but it puts into account all the revenue that I'm bringing in, right? Pet fees, guest fees, all my type of linen fees, all my fees get added together. And instead, my base rate on Price Labs is, let's say, $160, but with all those fees, I jump up to about $200, $220 a night. It takes that into account, and it thinks, hey, this new one bedroom that you're going to put up here is going to be $200, $300 or whatever, some random number. And I go, wait a second. If I start there, I know I'm really not going to get bookings. It's a brand new listing. I need to develop that relationship with the guest, right? The 5-star reviews and get going so that I can actually start making the type of revenue I want. So I can change my base price. I also put a minimum, right? None of my units go below $110 a night. And I set that there so that way my price never drops below that. But Price Labs is awesome, man. I'll do another segment just on Price Labs for you guys in the future. All right, let's see. Bear with me, guys. I'm talking a lot here. Keep dropping questions because we're going to end this. We got about another 20 minutes left. And if I don't get to your questions in there, save them for the next one because I'm only going to do an hour on this, guys. And again, this will be on YouTube, and I'll crop it up to do different videos and stuff like that for you guys as well. All right, let's see. Hopped on late, but curious on how to convince. Let me put this up. Javier, what's up, man? Okay, so I hopped on late, but curious how to convince property owner to sublease when you have no prior experience, aka just getting started in short-term rentals. So I'm not going to answer this because I just answered it. Watch the YouTube video when I go live, when it goes up. Watch this same video when it goes up. Let's see. Do you have a sublease example contract? I got my first arbitrage in Myrtle Beach, condo on the beach, $1,200 a month in rent already, furnished and remodeled. So I hope it goes well. Congratulations, man. Badass. I'm super excited for you. I don't have a sublease example contract. Here's the deal. I use whatever lease they provide, and then I just add a subletting, either a clause or a subletting addendum. And don't overthink it. You can find them online or get an attorney to draft one up for you. They're simple. It simply says that, hey, we're allowed to sublet, something like that. I don't have one to provide for you guys, or I would. Not only that, I can't actually give you guys like legal advice and terms and stuff like that. So I'm just not going to provide it. But congratulations, man. I hope. Let's see. First arbitrage in Myrtle Beach, dude. Badass. So I'm super excited. It's on the beach, $1,200 a month in rent already. Cool. Badass, man. That's cool. I'm happy to hear that. Let's see. Junior, do you ever mention that it's Airbnb or just stay at STR? Is Airbnb the main platform you use, or another way to make to market it, post it? Yeah. Okay. So look, Junior, I never tell people anywhere where I'm going that I'm going to use this on Airbnb. Number one, because you guys all know Airbnb is just really negative out there. There's a lot of bad news about it. Everybody talks about Airbnb, and everybody dislikes it. So when I first start, I don't tell people that I'm running an Airbnb, but I do tell them I'm running a short-term rental or a corporate house for short-term rentals, right? If they ask if I'm going to use Airbnb, I don't lie. I'm very transparent about everything I do. I tell them, yes, I do use it, but this is how I use it. And I explain to them. That the way I use it is as a marketing platform to acquire customers, right? That's exactly what it is. That's how we use it. And then I explain to them how I vet them. I vet every single guest, whether it's a direct booking or an Airbnb customer, the same way. So I just explain that. Is Airbnb the main platform you use, or another way to market, post it? Yeah. So when I first start any apartment, Airbnb is the first place I use. But over time, and I'm going to make a video for you guys later. I have this, 1 second. I have this little device here. I'm going to make a video for you guys. I'm going to post it on YouTube. It's by StayFi, and I'll make it after this. That way it's one of the first videos you guys see. But over time, as you're operating, you're going to save people's data, right? Your guest data, your information, their information, excuse me. I have about 4,000 emails from about 4,000 guests who stayed with me. And now I market to them directly. And then they get the link to my website where they can come in and book directly, and they save the Airbnb fees, or they save the VRBO fees, or they save the booking.com fees, whatever it is. And they come directly with me. Number one, they've stayed with me before. They know the type of service I'm providing. Number two, if it's a business or somebody of that nature, I want them to come directly with me, because I want to be able to take those direct bookings and make as much money as possible without having to split fees, right? If you check at the end of the year with the amount of fees, you're going to see that you pay a lot. I think every year I end up paying something like $60,000 in Airbnb fees, some ridiculous number. I don't know. It's like 3%. I'll tell you guys what. Let me do the math really quick. Let's see. So just this year alone, I'm already at about $32,000 in Airbnb fees, right? Which is a lot. And if I got those direct bookings, that's 32 grand in my pocket. You don't think I want that? That's $32,000 in profit that I could spend. So to go back to your question there, Junior, and it came off the screen. I think it falls off, but to answer your question, I post everywhere. Airbnb, VRBO are my main ones. I use Furnish Finder, and then I do a lot of direct bookings and contracts with medical professionals, nurses, doctors, business travelers, and then contractor companies. I love them, man. They'll book an entire place for 90 to 120 days and pay me everything up front. And then there's insurance companies. They pay top dollar, and they house families. Those usually require larger listings, something like a 3-bedroom house. But I love them. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Oh, Brian, I skipped another one of your questions, man. Let's see. Did you create a separate business account for your profits for your business from your personal bank? Yes. Okay. So everything I do under my entity. Now, listen, really quick. I'm not giving anybody legal advice. I think I have to say that, right? This isn't legal advice. Talk to your CPAs, talk to your attorneys, whatever it is that you need to do. Talk to them. Let them help you. But I do everything through a entity, through my LLC. I have my bank accounts through my LLC. Number one, for protection. Number two, because you want to make sure that you have everything legitimately done. Remember what I said in the beginning, where if you go and talk to a building and you tell them you're running a short-term rental corporate housing provider, a company, and then you go and sign a lease in your name, are you really a company? Is this a legit thing? Is this a side gig? Right? You now lost all credibility. You're not legit. And you're trying to pay for 5-6 units under your own name, under your personal bank account. This doesn't make sense. And then there's the safety side of it, right? You want to protect yourself. If something happens, you want to have an entity to protect you. But yes, I have my own separate business bank accounts for my corporation, for my company, and my business. I mean, and my personal are completely separate. All right. Good questions, guys. This is pretty good. I didn't think we are gonna have so many good questions. Bryant, I love it, man. You're on point with your questions today. I see you. Okay. Let's see here. Mark, I think I've already answered that. What's your strategy to determine if a property is going to be profitable? Oh, no. All right. I'm going to give you the very short answer, but I'm glad you asked this because I'm going to make a video just for this. Because I can go on this I'll probably do this topic next week, actually, because I can go on for hours about this. Okay. What's your strategy to determine if a property is going to be profitable? The short answer is I run the numbers, okay? I make sure that they make sense. I make sure that the market has a demand and that the market meets the numbers that I need to meet in order to be profitable, right? If speaking of arbitrage, or even if you own and your mortgage is $3,000, let's say I rent for $3,000 or your mortgage is $3,000, let's just treat them both the exact same way right now. Then if you divide 3,000 by 30, you're looking at what, $100 a night? Let's do this as I go with you guys. Yeah, $100 a night. So 3,000 divided by 30, $100 a night. So just to break even on the rent or the mortgage, I'm looking at $100 a night. That doesn't include rent. That doesn't include internet, water, sewer, trash, right? It doesn't include resupplies and consumables. Don't forget about that cost, right? It doesn't include the cost of washing your linens, all of that. And so let's say in order for me to do $100 a night, that means I have to be able to break even. So let's add everything else. In order for me to break even, we're looking at about, I don't know, $130 a night, right? Something like that. Well, then you do your research and you see that those properties in the area aren't renting for more than 125, and they're like beautiful locations that are like, you're like, wow, right? But they're just not doing above that. Then odds are you're probably not in the right place, or it's being mismanaged, or whatever the case may be. That's the short answer. I'll go into a lot more detail on the next one here because we're running out of time. But hopefully that helps, man. Run your numbers, do some comparables, right? Pull some different properties on Airbnb, and make sure that market demands what you need to get out of it to be profitable. Stay tuned though. That's going to be a really good. I'm glad you asked that. I'm going to make a really good video for you about that. I'll teach you how to find your break-even number, how to find your entire number with profit, what to look for, all of that. Well, a bunch of questions just popped up here. What's your strategy when the property is going to be profitable? What do you look for? And what do you look for in your markets? What's criteria do you follow? That's a very broad question, Corey. Can you be more specific, man? What's your direct booking site on your porter? So I don't use your porter, Mark. I had my own direct website made. A good buddy of mine, his name is Mark Simpson. He runs boostly.com. Actually, if you guys want, I have a referral code. I'll put it down on the comments if you guys are watching this on YouTube, where I think you guys get a discount. I'm not sure if I do or not, but he makes great websites. He's based in the UK. He's been doing this for years. He's got, I think, like he just posted a post about it. He's working with like 200,000 hosts right now, but my website's coming out badass. Like, I love it. They did an awesome job. But it's going to be Night and Rain, KNIGHTANDREIGN.com. It'll be live probably next week, and people can go in and book directly, and it's gonna be all over Google and Facebook and Instagram, and people can book from all the platforms and go into it and stay with me if they want. I treat them differently because they're direct booking, so contracts have to be signed, et cetera, et cetera. I'm running my own payments through Stripe, all of that. Let's see here. How do you avoid squatting rights? 28 days for the contractors who short-term leases for 90 to 180 days. So Brian, I've never had that problem, man, because when you work with a legit company, they pay you up front. And if someone's willing to usually pay you that kind of money up front, odds are they're not going to cause you any problems. If this is, okay, look, you look for the red flags, okay? Let me be very clear about this. If I get a company that says, hey, we're staying for 120 days, and I tell them, hey, it's going to cost you $20,000, right? Just for the sake of this example, it's going to cost you $20,000. And they go, no problem. And they pay me up front. Odds are you're okay, right? Because legit companies have that kind of money because they've already budgeted for that kind of situation. They already have this in their budget. They know what they got to provide for their employees to be able to go out and do the work that they're already been contracted to do. Now, red flag. Hey, it's going to cost you. Yeah, hey, look, the contractor company or whoever, the contractor or whoever it is. Number one, if it's not an actual company contacting you, it might be a little sketchy. That's red flag number one. But the biggest red flag is when a company, they go, hey, we want to book this place for 120 days. Okay, cool. It's going to cost you $20,000. Well, I'd like to pay you, can we get a discount? Number one. Okay. Maybe. You guys are staying for a long time. Sure, I can give you maybe $3,000 or whatever, right? Example. I don't give discounts, guys. But, example. And then they go, well, we want to pay you on a monthly basis. So we'll give you $3,000 up front and we'll just pay you $3,000 every month after that. That's already a huge red flag. No, right? Usually when people are having trouble paying for their things up front is those people that are going to cause problems. That's a red flag. I don't do it, right? If you want to stay long-term, you got to pay up front, especially if it's a direct booking. If it's not, and be vigilant about the type of guest and the type of questions and the type of comments they give you. It's that simple. All right. Junior, so first thing is to make our entity LLC. Look, the first thing is to just start making phone calls and go out there and start talking to people, man. Everything just kind of falls into place after that. I think I got my first apartment without even having an entity. I think I got the entity at time of lease signing. My bank account and everything came in literally like a day after, like 7 days after they told me yes. And the day before I had to sign the lease, I had my entity in place in my bank account. And I showed it to them and they were cool with it. But your first thing is you want to go out there and just start making phone calls and just start talking to people to get that yes. Guys, don't fall back into that. I need to learn everything and know everything and be everything before I get started. Paralysis by analysis, right? Or whatever it is. All right, let's see. Are you doing your own market research for using a platform like AirDNA? So, Corey, this is again going back to that pricing thing. I'll make a video, the one that Mark asked about the how I determine a market or whatever it was, or one of you guys asked it. But the long story short is, yes, I do my own market research before I open any unit in any location, especially if it's not in my market and I don't know it, right? AirDNA is an awesome tool as a base tool. I use it as like the lowest amount of money I can make per night. Whatever it tells me that I'm going to make per night, I know it's going to be the lowest amount possible. So that's what I use it for. But it is a good tool. It gives you a very good, if you're happy with the numbers that AirDNA shows you, odds are you're going to do good. And again, I'll talk about that in my next video as well. Let's see. We're coming up here on the hour mark, guys. So another 8 minutes here. I got another 4 questions, I think. Mark, what's your strategy on how to price your weekdays and weekends, and then how much they'd be discounted when you do a week stay, 2 week stay, month stay? Okay. I'll answer that on the next one. Let me see. And if I have time right now, I'll come back to it. You're asking a lot of pricing questions and I like it. Would love the Boostly referral. Cool. Yeah, man. I'll put it up and I'll send it to you guys. If I don't, shoot me a comment. If you guys are in the Facebook group, shoot me a message and I'll send it there. If it's on YouTube, drop a comment below and I will, I'll post it there for you as well. Which, by the way, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, I guess I'm supposed to ask, like, hit the like button, right? Don't smash it. Some of these guys are like, smash the like button. Just gently tap it. And hopefully we get boosted and get more people, because I want to give you guys as much content as possible. Listen, I'm going to give you guys as much as I can on this platform, okay? Like, legit. I'm going to give you guys as much as I can. I like helping people. I like giving people. I just got to do it on my terms, on my time, where I can help as many people as possible, right? That's why I don't have, like, coaching or things like that, because I just can't dedicate my time to a lot of people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on here and just be fully transparent about everything. It might take longer to get the information, but I'm going to try to give you guys as much as I can. All right. Do you recommend, Ben, here, let me put it up. I keep forgetting. All right, Ben, do you recommend filing an LLC through the SOS or a website like LegalZoom? You know what, man? I don't know. I do it through the state of California. I don't know what state you're in. I heard LegalZoom is good. I know a couple people have used it. I've never used it. In California, it's relatively easy to do it. You can do it through the actual Secretary of State website. But you can also have an attorney do it. Listen, here's the thing, right? This is a legit business you're running, and you want to have it as legit as possible with whatever state you're in. So if you don't know what you're doing, get help from a professional to teach you how to do it or to help you do it, okay? That's what I'll say. Do you use a virtual assistant to contact properties for you? Brian, great question. No, I do not. I love contacting. Well, actually, I take that back. I don't love contacting properties, but I do like networking and I love talking to people. And my best properties have came from me having conversations with investors. I'm actually driving up north this weekend to go to a networking meetup. Hopefully I make some good relationships there. Yeah, I mean, I don't, but going back to your question, no, I don't use virtual assistants to contact properties. You certainly can. But the reason why I don't do it is because if I'm going to have someone else do a job for me, they need to be me. Therefore, in order for them to be me, I need to train them to be the best version of me, even better than me, right? That takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of training. And they need to be able to be better than me when they make those phone calls to be able to get that contract or that yes or that property. And I don't do it. Not to mention I'm not actively looking, but it's a good idea. I do use virtual assistants. My business relies heavily on virtual assistants. I have 2 right now that I love. They're awesome. They do all my guest communication. And they do all of their, basically my customer service and kind of like my personal assistants. Yeah, that's what I use them for. And I'll do another segment just for virtual assistants for you guys as well. I don't know who said this. Facebook user, make this shareable. I got to figure out why it's not showing up comments from Facebook, but I will. It'll be on YouTube. You're very welcome, my friend. I hope you got value out of this. Let's see. Greetings from Indy. Keep crushing the game, Rafa. Appreciate everything you do for everyone in this STR game. I don't know who this is. I'm going to take a wild guess and think it's Jason, maybe. He's from Indy, but if not, I apologize if I called the wrong person out, but thank you. I appreciate it. I really hope you guys get value from this for real because it's why I do it, right? Oh no, Jim, what's up, brother? I see you. I pulled it up on Facebook down below. Jim, cool, man. It's good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a long time. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Any area that you do not, oh wait, geez, I can't read. Any area that you do know that can throw us some leads? Junior, unfortunately, no, my friend. I don't give leads out. I don't put my name out there. I don't like to recommend. I want people to go out and do their work and do their research. And if I hand you something, you're going to have a more difficult time trying to do it yourself the second time. Go out, get started, learn your market, learn what works, do what works for you, not anybody else. And, you know, fail and get better every time you do. Cool, guys. I think I got everybody. All right. Exactly 57 minutes and 11 seconds. All right. I guess we'll take this time to ask you guys a couple questions. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe he's from Indy, but whoops, I pulled it up on Facebook down here. Awkward. Okay, so yeah, Ben, thanks, man. Join me every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Guys, a couple reminders. Please don't leave yet because I got some questions for you guys. I need you guys' help to make sure that I make this better. Number one, how does the audio sound when I'm this far from the mic? Somebody give me a comment, please, before I go on to the next question. Let's see if I'm going to test you guys. Does it sound good, please? Oh, cool. I got 5 people from the group and 5 people from YouTube. Guys, somebody tell me how the audio sounds. Okay, let's move on to this one just in case. Okay, cool. Good. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. How does the quality of video look? Because I was having internet trouble beforehand, and I want to make sure it's not spotty or blotchy or weird. I want to make sure it sounds good. Cool. Okay, Junior, appreciate it, man. Audio's on point. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. How about the video? Does the video look good? Is the quality of the video good? I'm trying to record on 1080. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. On YouTube. Awesome. Thanks, Junior, for joining, man. I appreciate it. Okay, final question. Do you guys want me to, actually, as a matter of fact, if you're, okay, let's just do this. If you guys are on YouTube, drop comments below of future videos you guys want to see. It's just going to help me. I'm terrible at organization. But if there's a specific topic you guys want me to talk about, drop it in the comments. That way I, you know, can give you guys like Mark and Corey, those questions about pricing. I'm going to give you guys some good content on that. That's a really good one. The virtual assistant thing, I'll make sure I do that as well. Other than that, guys, the podcast comes out tonight at midnight. It's going to be on YouTube. For you guys that like to see rather than just listen. It will also be on iTunes and Spotify. It's episode 2. We do talk about short-term rentals today. I love you all. If it wasn't for you guys, I obviously wouldn't be here. I set up my studio just for you guys. Hopefully you guys like my background pieces back here. As a matter of fact, fun fact, I painted this. Check this out. Tell me what you guys think. So this is the original white brick. And then I went and I painted it to real brick. And so here's the plan. I'm actually going to put the big break on here tagged up. If you guys know any artists out there that can tag, let me know. Because I don't know how to tag. But it's going to go there because I think it looks really cool. Anyway, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. We'll see you guys next week.